Daily download.
Former Pakistani Prime Minister and presidential hopeful Benazir Bhutto just moments before she is killed in a suicide attack. Today on the download, what happened and what's next for Pakistan? Welcome again to the VOA Newsroom. Doug Bernard with you. Clearly just one story today. Pakistan edging toward uncertainty after the killing of one former prime minister and an attack on the party of another. Both stories taking us to the Pakistani city of Rawalpindi, beginning with the first and this rally. Former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto here at the podium, leading a rally for the Pakistan People's Party and her own presidential campaign. Now, this was the scene just moments before Ms. Bhutto left the podium to enter her armored car. It was then an assassin struck. Gunshots were fired. The chaos here telling of what happened next. Moments after the shooting, a suicide bomb exploded, taking out Ms. Bhutto's car and those nearby. Now, of those killed, many were senior leaders of the PPP. Ms. Bhutto died at a nearby hospital. Witness reactions telling of the grief and confusion this attack creating. Anger, too. There are numerous reports of emergency personnel and other state forces being targeted by protesters. And another former prime minister, Nawaz Sharif, whose party had earlier come under attack, offered this after sitting with Ms. Bhutto at the hospital.
It is not a sad day, it is a darkest, gloomiest day in the history of this country. Something unthinkable has happened.
For his part, Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf called for calm and announced 3 days of mourning in Pakistan. Meanwhile, in the United States, President Bush condemned what he termed a cowardly act, urging the Pakistani people to continue with the democratic process. Of the many unknowns of this story, one thing is clear, the size and role that Benazir Bhutto played in Pakistan. Well, we're joined now by VOA correspondent Barry Newhouse, who is just back from Pakistan. Barry, you were there when Benazir Bhutto returned from exile. What was her reception like?
Well, there was a huge outpouring of support in Karachi and in Sindh province, which is really the stronghold of her political base. The Pakistan People's Party is from Sindh, and so there she is extremely popular. We saw hundreds of thousands of people turn out in the streets. In the rest of the country, though, the reaction is a little bit more mixed. A lot of people have memories of her tenure as prime minister, which was mainly marked by some serious corruption allegations that forced her out of office twice.
So obviously there were supporters, there were opponents, and there were those probably who had mixed feelings about her. Give us a sense, though, from your conversations with Pakistanis about perhaps the role that Benazir Bhutto played in Pakistan and what her return meant, whether they were opponents, supporters, or of mixed mind.
I think many people saw it as a positive step for the country, both her return and the return of Nawaz Sharif, two former prime ministers who have jockeyed for power over several decades, really, in the past. But really, it's a sign that many people thought the political system was opening up, the elections were going to be more free. At the same time, these are not kind of pure democracy reformers. These are people with a long political history, a checkered political history in Pakistan. And so, although it was a positive step, this wasn't necessarily a solution for the country.
VOA correspondent Barry Newhouse, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Daily download.
To recap for you now, former Pakistani Prime Minister and presidential hopeful Benazir Bhutto has been killed, along with several senior advisors, in an attack in Rawalpindi, Pakistan. Also Thursday, the party led by former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif came under gunfire in the same city. Now, clearly, this is a story that will change significantly over the next 24 hours. And, you know, for all of the latest from all of our correspondents fanned out across the region, just go to our website, www.voanews.com. Thanks so much for joining us. In Washington, I'm Doug Bernard.